All right, so let's take you back in time to April 2004. You remember the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Sports spent a whopping 50 million shillings when it partnered with a consumer goods company to sponsor a design for a national dress.
And over a decade later, Kenyans are yet to have a popular national costume after the idea failed to take off. Now, Fatma Pole visited 60-year-old librarian turned designer Margaret Adongo and tells the story of Kenya's quest for a national dress.
A culture without fashion is a dead culture, because fashion is about developing ideas, creativity and vibrancy of the people and their lives. The words of celebrated African fashion designer Saidna Ali Al Fadi, challenging Africans to try harder to market Africa on the world stage. 1 year later, in 2004, Kenyan leaders ditched their suits and took to the catwalk in African attire to signify the beginning of the search for a national dress. And they did find it. Unfortunately, the idea failed to take off. But in Kenya's growing fashion industry, designers are increasingly drawing upon their heritage to design clothes that fuse both Kenyan and Western styles, most of them still hoping that there can be a national attire.
Of course, in different places.
60-year-old Margaret Adongo, a librarian turned designer, is determined to find a national dress at whatever cost. When we arrive, Margaret and her team are busy experimenting with different African fabrics.
If Bombolulu can make things like this, Maridadi fabrics, this is from Rivertex in Biashara. And so this is local. Yeah? Why can't they make something and call it a national dress for Kenya?
But it is the search for a Kenyan national attire that has always been closest to her heart.
It distressed me quite a bit that the idea that I had given that should also be shown to Kenyans, along with what was being shown at that time, was not shown.
Margaret was part of the design team that was picked by the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Sports to design Kenya's first national dress. She has been trying for decades to come up with a national dress, and in the late 1980s, she organized the first ever national dress competition at the KICC. She settled on a flat fabric which she says can be worn in different ways.
I'm telling Kenyans to embrace it.
Margaret has also written a book dubbed Proudly Kenyan, Gifts, Souvenirs and Attire from the Heart of Africa. Kenya's golden girl Lupita Nyong'o, who she hopes will one day wear her designs, graces the cover. Over the years, we have seen Kenyan leaders don attires with the colors of the Kenyan flag, whether in accessories or as the complete Kenyan look. Margaret now challenges President Uhuru Kenyatta.
There is a way that a flat fabric itself or a dress can unite the people of Kenya.
A quick look at the Kenyan streets and you are met with jeans, suits, but just what is the distinctive Kenyan look? Do Kenyans still have hopes of having a national dress?
Nafikiri ingekuwa timely na publicity ifanywe, watu naona sasa hata watu ya maboda boda wangefurahia kwa sababu hata wameanza kupeperusha bendera za marangi ya Kenya.
We really don't have to put on a cloth to show that we love this country. First, let's start by loving one another.
But for Margaret, it has more to do with peace, love and unity for a nation than it has with fashion.
It's high time that we have Kenyans in something that identifies us as Kenyans.
The design, which is hand-printed in the 4 colors of the national flag, that is black, white, red and green, is convenient, not imposing and therefore quite practical. Margaret's only dream is that Kenyans will be able to adopt it as the Kenyan national dress. Fatma Pole, KTN.